What's up, YouTube? All right, what we're gonna do here now is I'm gonna put a new rest on my bow. As you can see, it doesn't have a rest on it at all. This is my V327. I took the rest off of this bow, put on my VXR28. But I want to talk about it. What I want to talk about is why you don't need a bow shop to do this. You don't need any tools except an Allen wrench and an eyeball. I'm gonna show you guys how to do this. So first thing we're gonna talk about is, let's say you have your backup rest for your bow. So this rest doesn't have one on it. So I'm gonna grab my VXR real quick. All right, same exact rest, right? Okay, what I wanna do is, before I put this in my backpack and I go hunting, I wanna look at the marks. My windage marks, my up and down marks. Simple. I look at those marks. I preset these marks to match those marks. Guess what? All I got to do if I have a problem, if my rest breaks while I'm in the woods, take that rest off, put this rest on. Now, you don't want to retune your bow. You don't want to go through all that crap. You've been shooting it for 6 months. It's shooting perfect. As long as you mark these marks up and line them up with the marks on your existing rest, you're going to be golden. The one thing you may have to do is, because you have a rubber, this is a rubber well tail, or say you have a QAD and your QAD has felt on it. This one does not, but say it has felt on it and it's old felt, you've been shooting for 6 months, you put new felt on it. So this rubber or this felt may have you hitting a hair high. So once you get it on there, you got two things you can do. You can either raise your sight 1/16 of an inch, or you can lower your rest 1/16 of an inch, and you'll be on the money. Should take you, once you put it on, it should take you no more than 3 shots, and you're right back in the center, baby. All right, now let's talk about putting one of these on a bow that you don't have a rest on. Or let's say you didn't buy a backup rest. Let's say you go for a week's vacation to go bow hunting, and you get out there, maybe you didn't have the $300 to spend for a rest and a release. You should always have a backup release identical to what you shoot, and a backup rest identical to what you shoot. You're talking $300, right? You might say to yourself, I don't have the extra $300. Well, let me tell you something. When you take your week off, or you go to your favorite public land, or you're out of state, and you get there and your release strap breaks or your rest breaks, I promise you, you would be willing to pay a lot more than $300 to be able to go hunting. So buy those two things, put them in your bag. But let's say you didn't do that. Let's say you have a Hamskea on your bow. You didn't buy a backup. Now what's your choice? Walmart. Yep. You are now going to be on the Trophy Wall of Fame Whisker Biscuit shooters. Yep. That's what you're going to be looking like, a Whisker Biscuit. Why is that? Because a Whisker Biscuit is a lot better than any of the cheap rests you're going to buy at Walmart. So now, how are you going to get that on there and get it tuned without going through tuning it? Simple. Take your existing rest, before you take it off your bow, load your arrow on it. All right. Load your arrow on it. Get that well tail up in the air like that. Now what are you going to do? Here's what you're going to do. You're going to get a tape measure. You're going to measure from your sheath to the top or the bottom of your arrow. Be precise, right? Then you're going to measure from your riser to the side of your arrow. Be precise. You get those measurements, write them down, put them in your phone, text them to yourself so you don't forget them. Whatever you need to do, you put your new rest on, you get your arrow on there, and you reset your arrow to those exact measurements. And at that point, it doesn't matter what kind of rest you have. As long as you put it to those measurements, your center shot will be the same as the bow you've been shooting for 6 months. Your targets, you'll be on target, arrows flying beautiful, and back in business. Okay, now let's say you don't have none of that shit. let's say you gonna just go buy a new bow. You're gonna go to the woods. You're gonna put a rest on it. You want to put a rest on it. I'm going to show you how you can do that without going to a bow shop. You don't need any tools or any of that business. So let's get started. What I have here is the Hamskea. I'm just going to take it out of the box. I'm going to take the bolt. I'm going to put it on this VXR V327. What you want to do is you want to put it on here and get it as eyeball it in as close to center as you can. Now with these new V3s, as you can see, I can't get that all the way up. I'm not going to leave my rest like that. So first thing I got to do is I got to break the up and down bolt loose and lower my rest. As soon as I find my elements. Oh, here we go. All right, we're going to lower this bad boy down a little bit so that I can get it up there flush and flat where I want it. Now for me, I got a ton of Matthews, so I pretty much know about where it needs to be. And at that point, what you're going to do is you're going to look at this line or this line, and you're going to line it up to where it's running straight with one of these marks on your bow. That way your riser and your rest are square to each other. So let me do that. What I typically do with the Hamskea is I put the set screw right in the center of that bar. And that pretty much gets me where I need to be every time. Let me find the right size. I'm gonna tighten that little bad boy down. We're gonna say that it's money. When you put these on, if you snug up that just barely till you barely feel pressure on that set screw before you start tightening this other one, it'll keep it from spinning around on you. Because the Hamskea of where the way the slot's made, you can't slide this all the way forward on a Matthews because that slot doesn't go back far enough. So you can't just bump it up against it or hold it tight and turn it. You got to, it'll try to go up and down on you when you turn it. But if you'll tighten that set screw just a tiny hair, look there, you can tighten the crap out of it and it doesn't move around on you. Then I'll go back and I'll hit that set screw one more time, because all I did was barely snug it till I felt pressure. This time, tiny pressure. We're good. Now what I got to do is I got to get my windage first, right? Or I always get my windage first. How do I do that? I take an arrow while my well tail is sticking up in the air. Stick that bad boy in there. Let me snug this one real quick so it won't be wobbling around on me. That's my up and down, but I'm not worried about my up and down right now. I want to get my windage. Just a little snug. Break your windage loose. And obviously, if you watch YouTube, which everybody does, and I hope you do, because I'm trying to be on YouTube. I'm trying to be YouTube famous. So we're going to back this bad boy off. We're going to scoot it over. We're going to eyeball it from the back side first. Then we're going to put a little twist on it so it don't move. Not much. Now, what I do is I stand up and I look down. I'm holding this arrow in this well tail right in the center. I'm holding the arrow with this finger right in the center of my well tail right there. Right where it's going to be if I was holding it up like this and not touching it, okay? You're going to look right down this bolt, all right? And then you're going to look down that bolt, and you're going to line it up with this right here. Let me move the arrow out of the way and you can see what I'm talking about. You're going to line up dead center where they have this little harmonic balancer. If you don't have that harmonic balancer, you're going to line up center of this bolt with center of this bolt if you have a different style bolt, okay? So basically, if you look right there like that, you can see it's pretty much already there, but I can't tell like that, so I'm going to show you how I do it. I stand up, I put this bow cam on my foot, and I look straight down this limb bolt and line it up straight with the center of that. I can see it. I need to move it in towards the bowl just a hair. I need to move it in towards my riser just a tiny hair. There's marks on here, so keep your eyes on them marks. That way you're not moving stuff too far and then backing it up, too far and backing it up. Make things quick. Wow, that quick. Can you believe that? Not a single line-up tool, nothing. That quick. I'm dead center right there where I need to be. Now I'm gonna snug my windage down because I'm not moving it again until I shoot it. Now what do you want to do? Well, with the Mathews, they got this new center guard technology or whatever the hell it's called. All you got to do is line it up in the center of your bolt. And for me, I already have a knocking point on here because I had to set it before. So all I need to do is go up to the center of my bolt, and my knocking point is where it needs to be. But if you did not have this knocking point, then you just pop your arrow on the string, take this loose right here, just a tear. You don't want to be flopping around. You want to be able to control it. Pop your arrow on the string. Now, if you don't have it kind of with a knock set of some sort of something tied on there so it won't move up and down, and say your arrow knock is just kind of wore out or whatever, and it don't stay real tight, which you should replace if it happens, by the way. You can take a piece of black tape, electrician's tape, get your arrow, eyeball this one right here, move that bad boy up to the center of your hole, right there. You can line it up perfectly with, I'll show you with one of these arrows that I'm building. It doesn't have anything on it yet, so the fletching won't be in the way. What you want to do with the new Mathews is you want to line your center hole up perfectly. Your burger button hole, your center guard, and your knocking point. They should all, when you're knocked here, it should go straight through the center of your center guard or your roller guard, straight through the center of your burger button hole. Now, let's say you don't have a Mathews and you don't know where that is. What I would recommend is go ahead and pull your measurement from here to here, see what that is, take half of it and start that as your knocking point. Put your little bit of tape on there so that don't move. Slide your arrow up to the center of your burger button hole, which I'm gonna do right now. Now I'm gonna go around here. I'm holding that with my finger so I can see where my mark is. Once I get that mark, then if it moves, it's okay. All right, so I got the mark. I'm gonna snug that down just a little bit because I gotta recheck it. Now that it's snugged down, I'm gonna come over here. I'm gonna hold it out there and I'm gonna eyeball it. And I'm gonna say, for me, that is beautiful. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and snug that bad boy up. Probably wanting to know, why are you doing all this stuff without tools? Well, I have a bow shop in my backyard. 600 square foot bow shop. My problem is I work on the road, I'm never home. So I'm not gonna pay somebody at a shop to do something that I love to do. And besides that, every time I've let them do it, I take it home and redo it because they don't tie everything exactly the way I want it. They don't put my center shot where I want it. And then they try it when you want to paper tune it, they're like, yeah, I'll paper tune it for you. And then they shoot it through paper and say, here you go. You paper tune it for you. I have to shoot it myself if I want to paper tune it. I don't hold it like you do. I don't got the same facial pressure you do. I don't pull the same jaw weight. Maybe I don't even have the same jaw length. Nobody can paper tune your bow but you, right? So here we go. We got that on there. We're gonna pull that arrow off. We'll get rid of it back over here in the finished build pile. Now, I'm gonna take this off right here because I don't have any more I don't have any more D-loop material here. I've used it all up making videos. When I go home this weekend, I got tons of it in my shop, probably 30 feet of different colors. I'll grab some and bring it back. Now, I use a Persit knot. I don't like these little things. It clamps on your bow right here. It clamps on your bowstring, or clamps on your cable. I feel like they tear it, snag it, mess it up. They're one of the reasons why I always get to make these videos about how to repair your stuff in the field. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this cord that came with it just for this purpose until I get home and I can swap it out for a better one. Only reason I don't like them is they're really thin. All right, so what you want to do is you want to wrap this bad boy around your fingers. You want to put it on your knee. You want to stretch the dog mess out of it. As much as you can stand, as much pressure as you can stand on your fingers. Stretch the piss out of it. Well, you don't need a bathroom break later. I don't use this string because this little spring here is if you want to swap it to a cable driven. I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use my regular limb driven. What I'm going to do here is, now I already know from all the time of messing with Mathews especially and playing with my V3 and having it set up before, I know where I want my cable to go around the bow. But if you don't, I would recommend not putting your cable all the way back here. That's what everybody wants to do. They want to put it here, they want to put it here, they want to put it in this hole, they want to put it here, they want to buy that little piece from Mathews. And they work great. They really do. However, they're loud. Okay? If you don't believe they're loud and you have one on there and you're like, that ain't very loud, it don't sound loud, well, take it, move it down your limb about 3 inches, and then shoot it, and then tell me if you think it's loud or not. Now, take this, go ahead and stick it on, and I don't stick it on super tight yet, especially if I don't already have a limb driven on the bow and I need to figure out exactly where it goes. So I just kind of tap it on there a little bit. Now, what I'm gonna do now is, I'm gonna go ahead and take this right here, and I'm gonna melt the end of it just a little bit more because they don't have much of a knot in it. I like to have a big old knot on mine so it can't pull through. I'm pretty rough on my stuff when I go hunting. Then you're going to take it, if I can do this here. I always want to go from the outside like this, on the outside of your limb, and go in. Reason why is because that way when you tie this and you're pulling from this side, let me get my fingers on this bad boy. Okay, so you can see right there, if I tie it right there, I got that good square edge where it's pulling against. Hell, I can hold it just like that. But if I go the other way, like this, and then I tie it on there, watch what happens. When I pull it, it pulls around. See what I'm saying? So you don't want to do that. You always want to go on the outside, in. Then, what I recommend doing is just tying yourself a little old D-loop knot. Wrap it around, over, and come on back in. Pull that bad boy tight. Put it on there where you think it ought to be. I'm gonna go right there on the first round. Another reason I like using D-loop material is it pulls much better and much tighter than this, and it does it. Main reason it doesn't stretch, but it pulls a better knot. So there you go. See what we got right there? Now, this next part is so simple, even a caveman can do it. You're gonna take it, you're gonna stick it through your little spring. Boom. Oh, my bad, went the wrong way. On this one, I like to come from inside the bow out, because that way, when I wrap it, when I want to pull it tight, say I'm not hunting, and I want to take some pressure off of it, I just slide it up on the outside. Then when I want to go back and shoot, I slide it back down tight. Okay, so take you a Sharpie of some sort while your weld tail is all the way up right there. Go on this inside and mark it where you know when you draw it back that your weld tail is all the way up, just like that. If you can see that. See that mark I put in there, a little shiny mark? Now that way, when I'm pulling it back and I'm checking my timing, when I'm at full draw, I can look like this and I can see that mark, and I know that I've got it in a good spot where my weld tail is all the way up. And at that point, all I need to do is tie my purset knot on here. And if you don't know how to tie one of those, I'll show you right now. Hopefully you can see. Basically, what you want to do, try to hold it up here with the light behind it. So you want to take it like this, and you want to go inside. I like to do 3 loops inside. 1, 2, 3. Now when you loop it, you want your loops to be working their way back up towards the rest on that side. Just like that. See there? Now, I'm going to take this tag in. I'm going to go behind that one. Pull them a little tight. You see there? See what we got? Take this, go behind it, come down below it. This time I go the opposite direction. It's what works best for me. And I do 3 loops going still the same direction, back towards my rest or towards the knot that you just tied. Make sure those loops stay in line. Don't get out of sequence, or it won't pull tight good. Then you just pull that bad boy tight. Pull that side tight. Pull that side tight. Sometimes you got to work with it a little bit. Another reason why I like D-loop material better. It's a lot easier to work with than this little thin stuff. Actually, I'm going to have to redo it. It's not cooperating. Let me try going the other way. Maybe I need to go the other way because of this little thin material here. I haven't used this stuff in a long time. I always like to color match my stuff. So I just tied the same 3, but I went the other direction. So what you gotta do is when you pull these tight, you wanna make sure they don't get out of sequence on you. Kind of hard to do and show you at the same time. Let me just work this out real quick. What you want to do is you want to work those knots real close to each other. Like that right there. Once you get them worked in there close, then you can kind of pull it tight. And that right there is what you end up with. A nice little purset knot. Now, I can pull that down. Pull it down like that. Sock it down tight. I like to leave this tag in a little bit long so I can get a good handle on it. Pull it tight so that I don't have any issues with it trying to slip on me. Now it's going to stretch because it's that little thin string, but that's okay. You can see now I'm all the way down and I'm looking good. I'm money. I'm gonna take this little tag in right here just because I don't want it getting up around my camera stuff for now. I'm just gonna make a little loop with it, tie it into a little half hitch knot, I'm not even gonna pull it tight. I'm just gonna have it on there just to shorten it up a hair until I get everything right where I want it. All right, now that rest is installed. So now what I want to do is I want to shoot an arrow through it. See what happens. See if it shoots pretty good or not. Again, I still don't have a sight on this bow. However, I'm going to shoot it anyway because I'm only about 10 feet away. I'm going to show you another little trick here in just a second. Just take one shot here. Sit down so y'all can see. See how she works. I see my well tail is all the way up. Woo, babe! Apparently, I shoot the same almost every time because that bad boy hit right beside the one I shot on the other video. Notice they're both in a perfect straight line from the chair that I was sitting in. That tells me that my center shot is pretty good. Now how do I make sure that my center shot is good? Let me tell you. We don't really want to be paper tuning out in the woods. We can. I can show you how. I can tell you how. It's real simple. Take you some serving thread like this. Take you a chair just like this. It don't matter. It don't have to be wooden. It can be metal. Turn that bad boy upside down just like this. Get you a piece of paper, a piece of newspaper or something. Take your serving string, run it across here, tie it in a knot. Take you another one, a little bit lower, tie it in a knot. Take you a piece of paper, tape it to the top and the bottom of that string. Put your target on the other side, shoot right through it. You can paper tune anywhere. Ooh, that chair broke. Somebody must have been using it to paper tune. Anyway, that's how you put the rest on, buddies. That's how you can do it with no tools or no nothing. Now, what I'll do, this video's done got way too long, is I'll throw a sight on here. I'll go outside for the next video. I'll leave it just like this. Next video, I'll throw a sight on it. We'll go outside, we'll shoot it. We'll start at 20. We'll get that sight hitting close, and then we'll work our way all the way back to 50 and see if we're getting good arrow flight.